Here is the space that we're going to be extracting in today. It's our cottage kitchen, and we're very fortunate because it's such an old cottage that we've actually got a really nice space to work in. However, as thrilled as my wife may well have been with the idea of extracting in the kitchen, I'm going to try and contain everything to this end of the room as much as possible. I mean, generally, how sticky can it get? So this is a walkthrough of the equipment, and I've just roughly placed it where I think it could be, and I'll find my way as we go along. But we've got a settling tank, excuse me, a settling tank from Simon the Beekeeper. We have a thorns uncapping tray, so I'll be either side, haven't decided yet. I'll be uncapping here and stacking them onto here, and then into the, again, Simon the Beekeeper. This is a 9-frame electric spinner, and in theory the honey will come out through that sieve into the bucket, which I'll then put into the settling tank, where it's got a double filter, a bigger hold one and a really fine one there, and then it'll settle for a couple of days and then be into the jar. The tablecloth is just off Amazon, and it's a waterproof one, and I've got it bigger because this table can fold out and be bigger if I find I need more space. Uncapping, fork, knife. These go into the spinner, and it gives me the ability, they fit in like this, and that gives me the ability to extract brood frames as well. So I can either be a 9-frame shallow national super, or I can use brood frames and I can get 3 in there, so it becomes a 3-frame spinner. I have got, hopefully, enough to just have one little play with that to see how effective it is with the brood frames. And additionally, this is sugar syrup's just cooling at the moment, but I'll get rid of that, give it a clean, and I may well use that full of hot water for dipping the knife in and out. And that's pretty much as basic setup as I can think of. And the idea is to give it a go this year and see what additional equipment I need going forward, and as we grow with more colonies as well. Good afternoon, it is extraction day. I'm as ready as I can possibly be. This is completely winging it. I've never done this before. I've got a rough idea how I'm going to go about it, but I'm going to just learn as I go and see how we get on. If you were to spot anything, dire mistakes or anything that you think could make things an awful lot easier, that'd be fantastic if you could let me know. But we've got a really basic setup. I'm going to be extracting from my cottage kitchen, and we don't have a huge amount to do because after last winter's catastrophe, I wasn't expecting to have any. However, we've got some. So we've got an opportunity to try out the new equipment and to find some sort of routine before we get bigger next year with a lot more honey. So it's it's a blessing to have this opportunity to get some practice in. Okay, let's go. Right, let's go and have a look. It's at this point to start getting paranoid and presume that since I was last here, the honey that was on has all been eaten. But I'm sure they've behaved. So as well as harvesting honey, we're going to be doing our varroa treatment, and it'll be apivar, and it'll be a simple procedure of placing in the centre of the cluster with a screw or a stick to hold it in place, and leave it in for 8 weeks. Along with varroa treatment, I'm hefting everything, and anything that feels a little light, it's going to get a feed as well. These are the first queen we've had from Den Rosa, and beautiful bees, really lovely. buckfast, and I'm going to try the other line that they do as well next year. Our little Shropshire colony and local bees doing very well. This was the swarm we caught with the Black Queen. Did a video earlier on in the season. Just going to fire some varroa treatment in here. One there. And one there. Clusters over this side. I've done some checkerboarding and that's still foundation, so these are going to get a feed anyway. They should draw that out, and then I expect them to move over that way. They're a bit lopsided. So this is the hive that we're hoping to have some honey from. I'm predicting that's empty. These two should have honey in. Let's have a look. Well, they've managed to move up, just started to draw this out, but they haven't actually filled it. That is expected. This is what we were looking for. Lovely, nice full super. Bingo, beautifully capped over. Lovely, lovely honey. Look at that. This was a nuke. It arrived to me in April and it's been fantastic. I've taken splits off it and everything, and now it's given us a good dollop of honey. What a fantastic job. Beautiful buckfast bees. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. Look at this. Fantastic. These here, these are wireless foundation, so we can have a little bit of a play and do some cut comb and maybe some sort of chunk honey as well. Brilliant. There must have been a bit of a spacing issue with this super, because they've gone and made themselves an extra frame, which is going to be eaten just as it is by yours truly. Look at that. Yeah. Lovely. Okay, so we've had 6 litres between them. A litre in the little nuke and the AMM, 4 litres, and then I'm going to pop back in a day or two anyway, and I'm going to keep hefting and feeding every sort of 2 to 3 days. They've all gone in. I didn't bother with clearance boards. I just dusted them off for the sake of a couple of supers. It wasn't worth making the extra trips. They've been no bother and they've all got in there. Lovely. Go and get one more super, find some brood frames, and we can start extracting. Little did I know that we had an audience during all that. These are the local wagoos. Hello. We've just had a box off of this one, so we've got 3 supers, and this nuke here I put a queen excluder in and just hoped we'd get some honey off it, and as if to order, we've got, maybe not that one, but we've got, oh, that weighs a ton. We've got some brood frames, so we can see how it gets on with those. Lovely. It's very difficult to try and do one-handed, but there we are. So it's a case of fork it, rack it, and we'll come back to that bit. Well, everything's going swimmingly. Excuse me. something I meant to mention earlier is I added the wheels to help protect the floor, and it also helps so that you can move it around and whatnot, because it's not going to stay here forever, it's going back in the shed, so it made transport much better. Oh, oh wow. Beautiful. Do a taste test. Yep, that goes down all right. Very pleased to report that plan's worked really well. So it's a straightforward uncap, rack, into the spinner. That can be spinning while you're uncapping the next lot. By the time you've done the next lot, there is no weight to these. That spun it out lovely. And then out here. I don't know why, but this was probably the most, I was probably the most apprehensive about this stage of beekeeping, that I don't know why. I think I built it up far too much, and it turns out I didn't need to. It's pretty straightforward. This is from the 2 frames of cut comb. Look at that, that's really thick and chunky as well. I think that's going to look great mixed in the jars as chunk honey. Oh, here we are, the finale. Yeah, brood frames, all nicely emptied. All done, fantastic, what a result. Excuse me, I'm really hot. I've kept the doors and windows shut and everything so the honey would flow better being warmer. It's been great, it's been fantastic. Honey knows when you've spilt some and you turn your back and then something decides to spill somewhere else, and then you tread in some and then walk that somewhere, and then while you're in then a complete pickle, you remember that you've left the gate open on the spinner or something, and it's then moved away from the bucket and it's having a right drama over there. So beyond that, it's great. It's been a great learning curve. So pleased because we weren't having, we come out of the winter with very, very little bees, and thanks to some great buckfast nuke and some great mated queens, we've managed to pull it back and get a little bit of a harvest, which is great. And we've got 6 colonies to go into the winter as well. So going to do another video where we jar it in a couple of days and some cut comb, and maybe do some chunk honey or something like that. But overall, it's been great. It's been a real opportunity to try the equipment, so that I'm not caught out with problems when I've got a lot of honey to deal with. So this has been a fantastic practice run. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.